In this video, we're going to cover the top 5 services in your home lab when you're first getting started. We're going to cover Pi-hole, Portainer, Home Assistant, Dashy, and our proxy manager. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. So first we'll start off with Dashy. This is our Homelab dashboard. Now this is going to be primarily be used just as our home page for when we first open up our browser, allowing us to get to our self-hosted services pretty easy. You're going to see a few different services here, a few different quick links. And this is going to grow over time, and I might not keep this dashboard forever, as I do see there are a few others, and I have been through a few in the past, but lately I've been sticking to Dashy, and I actually enjoy it. Now with that being said, over here on the left, we have our home network. Right now we just have 2 routers, one acting as our main router, and then the other one is just upstairs, and that's just a pass through to our other devices upstairs. And then we have a Raspberry Pi. So actually in our home lab we have 2 Raspberry Pis. One of them is going to primarily be used for Home Assistant, and that's it. And then the other one's going to have other services such as Pi-hole and whatever I decide to do down the road. Over here in the middle we have our websites. This is more of a personal project and not related to this YouTube channel, but it is a quick way for me to get into that resource. So I have that there. On the right side, we have some various services. We're not going to talk about all of these today. Well, we're going to talk about all of them aside from one, N8N, which is something I also do recommend, and I do talk about it on this channel a lot. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about Pi-hole, our reverse proxy, Home Assistant, and Portainer. Another cool thing about this here at the top, you can customize it in any way you want. Different themes, different buttons, different icons. In this case, at the top, I have a little layout for our quick links, allowing me to get to my GitHub, my CyberMe YouTube channel, and then my GitLab repository for my home lab documentation. So this is definitely, it doesn't have to be Dashy. I like Dashy, it's easy to set up. I do have another video on it, and I could put it down in the description below that covers the process of how we get it set up. But I think it is a good dashboard to get started with, even keep long term. But this is something that you definitely want. You definitely want a dashboard to consolidate your services so you can get to them quickly. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be Home Assistant. Now, those that are not familiar with Home Assistant is home automation. It's pretty popular. I'm pretty sure most people know about it. And what I'm using it for, and this is going to grow over time. I have cameras, I have sensors. A lot of it's not set up yet, and that's actually pretty much it. So cameras and sensors right now. So we have door sensors for open and shut. We have some temperature sensors. We also have a ring camera, which is down here blocked, so you can't see it. It's out of your view. But that is our front door. So that's pretty cool. And eventually I'm going to kind of build out a panel to show to pretty much put in my office with a version of our dashboard, so I could kind of see it quickly if I ever want to view who's at the door or whatever the case may be, or the various cameras that I'm going to install. But here on the left side I have some various dashboards, and we're going to go ahead and add it over time. So in this case, here's the front door again. Then we have our just a quick section I set up. I gotta finish it out. I bought the sensors a couple months ago. I do have a video about the temperature sensors, but I do have to get another video out for the door sensors, and this is why I haven't really installed them completely yet, because I kind of want to cover that and show how it's used and how you can set it up. Pretty straightforward, but it's an open and shut. It's a magnet. Once the magnet lets off, then the door will be open. Once the magnet gets closed, or when the door gets closed and the magnet touches, the door will be closed. And there's other cards too that you could use this to kind of demonstrate whether it's open or closed. But this is kind of the default, and this is something we're sticking with for now. And then last but not least, we have the temperature sensors that I have in the house. We have a few. Some of it's out of reach, like the one in the attic. This one also goes out of range sometimes, so I have to get an extender for Zigbee. But in this case, right now I have 2 that are on and off. The one in the office is right next to my desk, so that one seems to work just fine. But this is definitely useful. Main reason I was going after is the humidity level. I want to track it above a certain level, in this case 50, as you can see the red, and you could start customizing it. So you can see down here at the bottom, 45, it starts to get a little bit greener. But there's levels, so you could change it depending on what you need in your home lab or in your house. But there's a lot you could do with Home Assistant. I have a few videos that covers the Home Assistant community store and different add-ons you could do and integrations. This is going to be a big focus for next year. It was a focus this year, but we're also going to jump more into it next year as we continue to build upon this dashboard. And it's going to get pretty nice, so definitely keep a lookout for that. The next service that we're going to talk about is Portainer. Now, the reason why I say this is a good service to have is because most likely in your home lab, you're going to be standing up a lot of Docker containers, testing and learning new things, or even just for services that you're using within your house. In this case, all of my services that I'm talking about today is all actually on a Docker container. So Portainer allows you to pretty much manage that. It has a centralized location to manage all your Docker containers. In this case, As you can see, we have two environments, local environment, and then we stood up an RPI test. This was actually in a previous video, and I could also put that down in the description below. And that was when we went ahead and we used a Portainer agent and we installed it on our Raspberry Pi, and that's how we had pulled in this Pi-hole Docker container. So now we can manage this container here from Portainer as if it was running locally. And then if we go back to the other environment, these are all on this local host on 192.168.1.107, which is our main server right now for hosting these services. And that's where Portainer is, and that's where these Docker containers are living. So in this case, we have a test lab, which is a video we just talked about either last week or the week before. This is just a quick container or pretty much an environment for us to try new things out and then just get rid of it and not have to worry about it. And we automated it in a way so every time we bring it up, we could provision it with Ansible, and then we could just tear it down and not have to worry about anything. We're going to get more in depth into our test environment as we continue onward, but this is something that we just started doing recently. We have the proxy manager, which we will talk about next or soon. N8N I talked about, and then Dashy. So this is definitely something you want to look into. The reason being is because, like I said, is a centralized way for you to manage your containers. The way I have it set up, which I talked about in previous videos, is all in my GitLab repository. I have YAML files, Docker Compose files, and that's how I build out these stacks. So essentially, if I make any changes to that stack within the YAML file in my GitLab, go ahead and hit pull and redeploy. It will pull in the latest YAML file, and it will deploy the services as they are currently, which is very nice. So any changes you make there will make changes here into our Homelab. So that's good. That's good thing to have. And I also covered all of this in previous videos, so definitely check those videos out. Next, I'm going to talk about Pi-hole. Now, this is a famous or a very popular Homelab service, self-hosted service. Could be used for blocking ads. I'm honestly not using it for that right now at this moment. It's pretty easy. You just turn it on and off. Pretty straightforward. Just click this button down here. There's also a way to do it with, I had it in the past, to have it in your Home Assistant. There's a little button you can do, like a little toggle, and you can turn it on and off or create some automations, whatever you want to do. But in this case, yes, that is useful. That's great. But I mainly am using it right now for just local DNS records. There's other ways to go about it, but I thought Pi-hole on my Raspberry Pi was the best way to go about it for the time being. So in this case, if I went down to settings and went to local DNS records, you're going to see the different IP addresses and those DNS names associated with it. So Dashy.local and N8N, the reverse proxy, Pi-hole, and Portainer. As you can see, all those are pointed to the 192.1.107, and that is where our reverse proxy is. Once it hits that reverse proxy, it's going to, depending on the port, it will determine what service to resolve, essentially. If we're hitting 192.168.1.107, like we are for all these, once we go to the reverse proxy, as you can see here in the proxy hosts, depending on the port that we are using, will determine if we're going to hit Dashy.local. Sorry, I said that backwards. Depending on the DNS name that you're using, will determine what destination it is. So if we hit 192.168.1.107 and we're using Dashy.local, it will go to port 4000. If we do it for Pi-hole.local, it will go to port 80 on our 51, or for Portainer it will do 9443. And all these services I have set up in previous videos. I will drop the links down in the description below. I definitely recommend you for those that are just getting started in your Homelab. I know a lot of people have done it already, but if you haven't done it, you should definitely get into your Homelab. You should start learning. This is something that I preach on this channel, to never stop learning. There's always something to learn. Even just doing the basics, all of this stuff, right? Spinning up containers, tearing them down, breaking stuff, learning how to fix it, GitOps with deploying stacks and Portainer. That's a pretty cool thing. Eventually getting into Kubernetes, backups, creating automations in Homelab, creating dashboards, storing your configurations in GitLab. All that stuff is within your Homelab, and I definitely recommend you do so as well. But I think these services will definitely get you started, at least at the very beginning. Until you start diving more into other services, this is definitely the bare bones that I think you should start with. Now, with that being said, that's going to close out today's video. I hope you were able to take something away. As always, never stop learning.